there is another one, which is
Yes.
it's an alternative medium of exchange.
And I think it's going to penetrate that faster than many people think. I don't think it will first go to retail uses. Like, I don't think I'll be buying coffee with Bitcoin anytime soon because it's appreciating 100% a year on average over the last 10 years. It's a very expensive cup of coffee. But if I look at the world today, I see us moving toward an increasingly multipolar world. We've been in a dollar-based world for 40 years where all international trade effectively is settled on petrodollars or the US dollar rails. I think we're moving to a world where it's settled in multiple different currencies, in the US dollar, in the Chinese yuan, maybe in other currencies. You sort of see this activity. I think within that world, some countries will want to settle trade in a non-political currency. And the only non-political currency that exists that's functional for trade, that can move at the requisite speed, that doesn't have to be shipped by airplane, the only one that exists is Bitcoin. So I think its first medium of exchange is going to be as a non-political currency connector between countries that don't want to settle in dollars or in yuan or in any other currency. I think it'll be a bridge currency. And then eventually, when it's more mature, it'll start to find use in what more traditional retail payments. But we have to get to that point eventually. I think when we do, you'll see it's more widespread use than many people expect right now.
Yeah. So state actors using it will also get rid of any last vestiges of reputational concern, presumably among the institutions.
And that is right. And we already have 10 countries that own Bitcoin. The US has a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We're moving in that direction. I love to question people who say, Bitcoin will never be used by state actors or for internet. Well, what suggests it's crossed every milestone? It started out being used by cypherpunks and libertarians, and then by retail investors, and then by financial advisors, and then by institutions and pensions. And now the US has a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and another 10 countries are looking at the same thing. Doesn't it appear to be on exactly the track that it would need to follow in order to get there? It doesn't guarantee that it's going to get there, but I think it's hard to look at that track record of success over the last 15 years and say it's not ticking off each box it needs to tick off, right? We were not going to wake up and you have a new thing that emerges into the world and everyone's using it for global trade. Of course, it has to go on this journey. And I think it has been going on that journey very well.
And in a world that's increasingly Bitcoinized, is it de-dollarized? Can these things converge? Can they coexist? What does that look like?
My great hope for the dollar is that Bitcoin acts as a sort of governor that prevents further abuse of the dollar, right? Bitcoin is the alternate road that we don't have to take if we treat the dollar well. The dollar is a great tool for global markets. It has been for many years. As an American citizen, I wanted to continue to play that role. But the US has built up $37 trillion in debt, has a $2+ trillion annual deficit. We print money like crazy every time there's an economic crisis. We seem to have outlawed recessions in the US and instead use the money printer instead. If that persists, then absolutely, I think the world may move into alternative primary currencies, and Bitcoin could be one of them. But my great hope is that the existence of Bitcoin haunts the central bankers and treasury and prevents them from overly abusing the dollar. It's worth noting, pre-Bitcoin, the dollar had much more scope to be abused by US government officials because there was no alternative, right? It was the cleanest dirty shirt by a significant factor. And if you don't have an alternative, it's just so tempting to abuse it. I think the growth of Bitcoin as an alternative could be one of the things that saves the dollar long term, because it tells people you can't abuse this too much. You have to keep an eye on this alternative system. And then if they do, yeah, I think Bitcoin will play a bigger and bigger role in the world. And that's what we've seen over the last handful of years.